Lastly, I want to talk about Android Q and what we expect to see coming in the fall in the final build. So the first thing, dark theme is official. Now, it isn't a full theme manager. In fact, in a way, I'm kind of disappointed, and it's still time that we don't have a full theme manager there. But at least you do have this option, and you don't have to dig all through development option to find it. Something that we had to do when we were playing with Beta 1. No, it's going to be right there in your notification setting. You will be able to swipe down and literally toggle whether you want to go from dark theme to a lighter theme. As you know, dark themes seem to do better with saving on battery life. So for those who are just trying to get that last little bit out of that battery, but you're not quite low enough where you want to go to battery saving mode, you can just click that toggle, switch things to dark theme, and you're good to go. And this comes in handy not just for, being, if you want to save in battery, but if you're in like a dark location. For example, if you're in a theater and, it's right before a movie is showing, but you're in the previews, you don't want to, you interact with your phone, but you don't want to sit there and blind the person next to you just in case, they're trying to enjoy the previews. Having a white theme can just throw that off, but to be able to swipe down, switch to the dark theme, and drop the level of brightness, it allows you to still be able to do what you need to do on your phone right before the main event without you affecting everyone else's view. And the other thing they obviously want to be focused on with Android Q, which is something that they're talked about, is foldable phones. Because we know that a lot of companies will be bringing out these foldable phones this year. We saw Samsung with their Galaxy Fold, which looks like may end up getting scrapped. Hopefully that don't be the case, but right now some of the publications I've seen out there showing that Samsung may actually be scrapping that thing. And I'll be further keeping up with that and keep you guys up to date whether that end up being the case or not. But for other companies out there that we're obviously going to be seeing this technology being made available for purchase this year, they're going to need a software that's going to be a part of that. And Android is ready for that. Q. It's going to be designed to bring continuity mode, which pretty much is going to allow you, if you're playing on a game or you're interacting with a map, and you're going from folded mode to unfolded mode, vice versa. It's going to continue on without interruption so that you can continue doing what you're doing with a smooth transaction. Feeling like, it's a seamless transition. And talking about new technology, 5G, the hype is here. You got a lot more people jumping on 5G, to talk about it. More 5G towers are lighting up across the nation. So as that go on, more people are going to want 5G phones, and you're going to need the software for that, and Android Q is going to be able to support 5G. Gestures. Now, I got to talk about this one. Now, for me, this is not anything new, but before I talk about why that's a thing that some people may not care about, let me go ahead and talk about what they're looking to do. So those who are familiar with the latest iPhone, where you don't have a home button, you're familiar with this. Apple went to pretty much an all gesture base. And Google kind of experimented with that a couple years ago to making it to where they was almost do a full gesture phone, but they kind of didn't go all the way there yet for fear of a lot of users not wanting that. So they stuck with the pill for now to kind of get people to that point. Well, they know for some people that was just a turn off for them. So one, you are going to be able to bring back your 3D navigation buttons. So if you're someone who look, I don't like this navigation thing, give me my buttons, you're going to get that. For those that like the pill, you're going to continue on to use that. But those that want to go to full gesture mode, well, expect to see that in the fall. Which means if you want to go home, you're going to swipe up real quick. If you want to go to your recent app or your last app, you're going to have to swipe up and to the right. If you want to quickly navigate through all of your past tasks, you can swipe across the bottom real quick. And as far as the back button, which is just now gone, you're going to swipe either from the left or to the right of your screen. Like I said, this is very similar to the iPhone. And for a lot of people, they may not like this. Now, I've actually had a chance to play with this on my OnePlus 6T, as this was an available option then. And for the most part, what I did like about having the all navigation display that was on the OnePlus 6T was because the buttons were removed, I got more screen real estate. But it did take a while to get used to with the navigations. And You can tell that a lot of apps really didn't do a good job as far as handling the navigation. But since Google is making this something that they want to push, I'm thinking you're going to see more apps kind of have that baked, and you're going to see it interact better. But for right now, playing with them on my beta 3, you can kind of see that even some Google apps, it's not really ready to go as far as going on screen navigation. But, you know, we'll have to see how that works when they release the final build. Now, as far as security updates, and this is going to be big for really a lot of phones out there. You know, we've talked about one of the biggest things with Google was fragmentation. One of their biggest Achilles heel is getting their software updated because, you know, a lot of times it's not really their fault. You know, if you got a phone like a Google Pixel, you know you want to get your updates because it's coming straight from Google. But you're not always getting that from, you know, companies like Samsung or LG or something like that. And there's some software that you really need to have, especially your security updates. So Google is looking to try to make that easier by making your security updates updated through the Play Store. You're already able to update apps. So if you're able to bring security updates to the Play Store, it should be easier to get your updates to more and more phones so that, yeah, they can make sure crucial updates are getting to Android phones. Even if they don't get the build software updates, at least the phone is safe as far as security-wise. Now, not only were you going to be able to see, you know, your security updates on there, but Google's also looking to make sure eventually bring software updates to the Play Store, as well as setting it up where, let's say if you want an app and an update goes through, the app will be able to update even though you're still using the app. In other words, they'll be able to update in the background. So basically, they're making sure that, yeah, you are able to get the latest and greatest as far as software update to make sure your phone is more secure. So the latest thing, Smart Reply, is going to also be coming to Android Q. Now, what is Smart Reply? Well, pretty much machine learning reads your text messaging, and it come up with a series of replies for you. In other words, for example, if someone asking you, how are you doing, or how is your day? Google's machine learning will come up with a couple of real quick replies that you can just click a button and it automatically reply to that message, which a reply. And that comes in handy because if you're driving or if you got something going on and you really can't have a full text message going on, you can at least acknowledge the person, let them know, like, I see your text message, I got it, but I'm not going to be able to, quote, continue on a full conversation. This has been something that's been native to Google's messaging app, but now you're going to be able to see this available to pretty much all text messaging apps. So even if you are not using Google Messaging, if you're using, let's say, some third-party app, you still are going to be able to use Smart Reply. Another thing you're going to be used with Smart Reply, since it's already reading your text message. Say if someone's saying, hey, meet us here, and they was to put a location, or say, this is going to be where we all meet at. They was to put an address. Well, when you swipe down from the notification bar and it sees the message that's read, it's going to already or provide you the ability to click on Google Maps so you can, get the navigation to that location. And again, this machine learning we're seeing being made or being focused in a way to be more useful to people. And then let's talk about focus mode. As I see this as being the middle ground or marriage between do not disturb mode and well-being. So do not disturb mode, for a lot of people, if you're not aware of that, do not disturb mode allow you pretty much that. You know, you put your phone in do not disturb mode, you won't get any calls, you won't get any texts, you won't get anything that's going to disturb you. And this is basically ideal for those who, you about to go to sleep at night and you don't want to get woken up in the middle of the night because, you get a notification of somebody sent something on Twitter. You're trying to get a full 8 hours sleep or 5 hours sleep or some hour bit of sleep, and now you're woken all the way up because someone decided they want to share something on Twitter. Well, again, with do not disturb mode, you can turn it all off. With the only thing that will be able to get through are those that you decide to get through, which an example would be if you got a child out or you want your family member call you, That will be the thing that wakes you up. But everything else, we won't go through. And then as far as the well-being, it basically shuts your phone off when, if you on a phone for too long, it kind of winds everything down to kind of get you off your phone. Well, I'll say this is a perfect marriage because let's say you don't quite want to go full do not disturb mode. As you're using your phone for something, studying, research, or whatever. But at the same time, you don't want to be distracted by, again, Twitter. Especially if you're someone that's like, I got finals, or I got this going on, I got to get this done. And if I don't get it done now, I know I'm not going to get it done later. So you finally get in that mode, you're studying, you're on your phone, you're doing what you need to do, and next thing you know, someone pop up, or something exciting pop up on Twitter. You know, you see a notification for the new Spider-Man trailer or something. Next thing you know, you find yourself, you're watching the trailer, you're watching the reaction trailers, and now all of a sudden you all out of study mode. So with focus mode, you can actually decide what apps are allowed to disturb you and which are not. Meaning stuff like Twitter and all that stuff will be silent, so it'll never pop up on your phone, so that you can basically study, get through all your studying, and prepare for your finals. And then later on, then you can check out what's going on as far as the latest Spider-Man trailer. So yeah, this is definitely going to be useful for a lot of people who are needing something like that. And the last couple of things that I want to talk about as far as Android Q is live caption, which is something I talked about earlier. Android Beam will be making the exit, which a lot of people, I don't think they're using Android Beam anymore, so it won't be missed. And we're going to be seeing more and more, or actually more manufacturers have jumped on the Beta 3. So that means we're going to see possibly more phones come out with Android Q this year, or get updated to Android Q, which is a good thing. And if you want a Pixel, you can jump on Q Beta 3 right now, as well as a number of phones. Matter of fact, if you want to find out if your phone is able to download and install Android Q Beta 3, you can go into Google's website, they'll show you. But to be honest with you, unless you got a backup phone, I would highly recommend you do not download a beta. You know, because beta, for those who are not familiar, are pretty much unfinished software, so it will have bugs and it may cause some issues, which means if you have apps that are working fine, it may not be working fine when you use the beta. So if this is your primary device, I highly recommend you do not go to the latest beta.